Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I did take a break because it's painfully hot and humid in my location, which is why I thought let me take a small break before I start shooting the next video. So here I am with the part 3 of my collection, and without further ado, let's get started because we have quite a few to see here. So the first fragrance that I will share with you today is called Intimate. It's a beautiful bottle and it's as we call it cheapy, though I don't like that name. I don't like that tag actually. It's an affordable fragrance. Beautiful bottle and a beautiful strong, sweet, slightly sweet, floral, woody. It has got oak moss, it has got musk, and the muskiness is florals and musky and woody notes, make for a very, very beautiful combination. Amazing fragrance. This is one that I bought, and if you remember, I keep saying that my aunt had been to the Europe on a tour in the 80s, and it is around that time I remember she got us one of this fragrance, and this also had a talcum powder, and it was a beautiful packaging. I still remember the packaging. I was a little girl back then, and I still remember the packaging. It was a beautiful purple floral kind of packaging, and that powder itself was amazing. It was like a scented powder itself, and this is such a gorgeous fragrance and a very, very affordable one. I was lucky that this was available on Perfumery, and I immediately lapped it up. So that's kick-starting the eye, and now I come to the next eye, which is from the brand of Initio. So my most favorite brand, you can understand very clearly because I have got almost all the major attractions from that house, and yes, it has been expensive, but it has been a journey well worth it because I really truly am certain that this is a brand that caters to my kind of perfumes, and I will never grow old. I'll never get bored with this collection. So let's start. Now the first fragrance that it's very difficult to show you in order of how I purchased them, but the first 3 fragrances that I bought from this house was Rehab. This is an amazing freshy, woody, freshy kind of a fragrance, perfect for all the year round, and even in hot, humid conditions, this can be a perfectly elegant fragrance for you to wear even during the daytime. The next fragrance that I had bought from this house is my all-time favorite, my second oud fragrance in my entire collection. This is Oud for Greatness. Amazing, in my opinion, top-notch oud fragrance, because we all know oud is a very, very expensive ingredient, but in my opinion, oud is something that needs a lot of treatment. You just can't serve it like that, like in a natural way, because then the experience might not be as pleasant. And to me, this has got everything. There's a little bit of spicy muskiness, there's the patchouli working, and the oud is so beautifully balanced to make it a refined, perfectly unisex, perfectly sober and elegant kind of an oud, which I very much love. The next fragrance that I bought from this house was Blessed Baraka, and this is a bit different from the other 2. It has got only 3 ingredients: amber, sandalwood and musk, and all I can tell you is that this is a fragrance that is truly beast mode, as they call it. You just need a few sprays of this and you are good to go for the whole day. The next fragrance that I have here with me is Absolute Aphrodisiac, and if you sniff it, you just feel like sniffing it forever. But this again, this is very high on longevity. The projection, in my opinion, is medium, nothing too loud or nothing too overwhelming. It's very, very sober, subdued kind of projection, but the longevity is really very, very strong. This has amber, vanilla and musk as primary notes, but this also has leather, and that is one thing to note, that leather even those of us who don't like leather as a note will not find this offensive in any way whatsoever. The next fragrance from Initio that I have here is Side Effect. Now many of you already have Side Effect. It's a very popular one of the carnal blends. Oh, such an amazing fragrance, such an amazing fragrance. You know, this kind of fragrance wants, you know, kind of lures you to using these even on a hot humid day as today. And the notes, you will be surprised, there's just 4 simple things, not simple things, are just 4, not a huge pyramid of notes. It's rum, vanilla, tobacco and cinnamon. And it's again, one more thing, this is so beautifully blended that you cannot really say that this is overpowering the other. It's like one intoxicating, amazing, addictive fragrance, and that's it. The next one that I'm about to show is also from the Carnal Blends collection. It's called Psychedelic Love, and this is a floral fragrance, and I'll tell you the notes. It has got ylang ylang and bergamot at the top. It has got heliotrope, hedione and Bulgarian rose in the middle, and it has got myrrh and sandalwood at the base. Amazing fragrance. Again, for those of you who don't really like floral kind of fragrance, this is not exactly the typical sweet floral kind of fragrance. This has got a lot of depth to it. So even if you don't like the sound of the floral fragrance type, you might as well want to give it a sniff before you decide. The next fragrance that I have in my hand is Addictive Vibrations. This is also a floral fragrance, but with so much difference. This is like honey sweetness, muskiness, and a lot of powderiness. Amazing fragrance. And again, mammoth longevity. And the last that I have here with me is Atomic Rose. And oh, this is again rose with a difference. This is so much rose, and yet it does not give you a headache. This is so beautiful, light, you know, almost like a watery, water-kissed rose. If you dilute the rose, you know, intense rose, this is what you get. It's such a beautiful rose fragrance, and there's this slight hint of woodiness in the background that works wonderfully. So that sums up my Initio and my eye collection, and I'll go to the next one, which is J. So the next category is J, and in J I just have 2 fragrances. The first one is one of my most favorite fragrances from my collection. This is called Scandale from the House of Jean-Paul Gaultier, and if you sniff it, you know, 2 fragrances in my collection, Elie Saab's Girl of Now and Scandale. These have flankers, and I have never been able to buy one of them because they just could not even touch me the way these 2 fragrances do. This is so gorgeous. This is honey sweetness, and then there's musk. There's a whole lot of floral notes to it, but this is all in all a gorgeous fragrance. You see very little of this has been used because this has got a longevity that is rare. This has got a longevity that is rare. I have worn this on my jackets, and they have gone for laundry cleaning, they have gone for dry cleaning, and they have come back still smelling, giving me whiffs of the fragrance. And I cannot say enough of this fragrance. This is one of the best designer fragrances that we have. The next fragrance is from the House of Chavoy, and this is called Remember Me. The credit for buying this fragrance goes to somebody else, but I couldn't be happier with this fragrance. It's such a beautiful, gorgeous tea fragrance. It's got milk, it's got tea, it's got cardamom, and the result is just gorgeousness in a bottle. So with J out of the way, I come to K, and with K I have only the Kilians to show you. So with K I have 3 fragrances. All 3 are from Kilian, and the first one that I will share with you is called Back to Black. This is mainly a honey tobacco fragrance. If you ask me, This is perfectly unisex. I loved wearing it, though I have got very little time to wear it last season. I spent a lot of time with the Initios rather, and it's got an amazing longevity. But to me, the projection was not huge. Projection was very, very controlled, very medium, and which I liked. I don't like very strong projecting perfumes that are kind of traveling all around me. The sillage is also very, very controlled, and the longevity is, however, very, very incredible, very strong. If you ask me, Back to Black is a very, very, it's not just because it's by Kilian, but because of the nature of the fragrance. I can tell you this is a very niche quality fragrance. This is not something like a crowd pleaser. So if you are not someone who is used to very niche fragrances, you're used to mainstream kind of fragrances, I would suggest you first try it out and then buy it. For me, I just love it. The next one that I have here is called Black Phantom, and I see mostly it's the men who love this fragrance. I don't see too many women buying it, but for me, I just love it because of the rich, dark, boozy, chocolatey, caramelly kind of, and there's rum in it also. This kind of fragrance really lures me into them, and I found it very, very attractive. And there's enough sweetness for a woman to be able to be comfortable wearing it. Though I do like the balancing of the sweetness and the slight woodiness that comes with other notes. So I just love this fragrance, and I think this is good to go for both men and women equally. The next one that I come to is one of the last fragrance purchase from Kilian, and I've shown it in my last haul video, and this is Kilian's Angel Share. And what can I say? This is such a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Very rarely will you find this beautiful balance of sweetness and woodiness, powderiness and spiciness. And this is the example of such a kind of fragrance, and it's intoxicating actually. It's just purely intoxicating. So with IJK out of the way, I'm only left with my L's. And I have some of the most beautiful fragrances, and in L I have got about exactly 4 fragrances from the house of Lancôme and 2 fragrances from the house of Lava. So the first fragrance that I'm going to pick up is one of my favorites from the house of Lancôme, and this is called La Vie est Belle, and this is another gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. It's wrong to say that this is a sweet, just a sweet, fruity, floral kind of fragrance, because you get so much more than just fruity floral notes, trust me. There's praline, there's tonka bean, there's patchouli, and they just do work magic. And they just work magic with this fragrance, trust me. This is a very, very gorgeous fragrance, if you ask me. Very feminine, and I think it's more like a celebratory kind of fragrance, you know, one which is filled with celebration, joy, and lots of fun and gaiety. The next fragrance that I have from Lancôme is again one of my favorites. I've got very little time to use this. I don't know why. This is called Roses Bereberenza, and it's such a gorgeous rose fragrance. Gorgeous rose fragrance, not just a distilled rose kind of fragrance. To me, this has got a little bit of the creaminess from the vanilla. There's a lot of booziness from the rum and the sweetness from the honey, and a little bit of powderiness. This is so much more. There's so much depth given to the rose over here. Makes it a very delicious, gourmand kind of a rose fragrance, and a very, very beautiful one. The next fragrance that I have is something, I think I bought it last year, and I was so happy because I could not get my hands on Oud Bouquet. So this is the L'Autre Oud fragrance from Lancôme, and I hear this has been discontinued as well. I think this is available in the new packaging right now. This is again one of the most, this is a very balanced oud fragrance with a lot of woodiness, a little bit of sweetness, and there are some rose inputs as well, which you clearly get. There is Turkish rose and Bulgarian rose in the middle, so it's a beautiful oud fragrance. Very, very likable. The next one that I have in my hand is called Lavender Trianon, and to me this is a very sweet, powdery kind of fragrance. a bit too sweet and a bit too powdery. But once you wear it, it's on your skin, you get a little bit of the sweet, you get a little bit of the spiciness, which is beautiful. There is milk in it, and that makes it super creamy, and long lasting is definitely there. It is definitely a very, very long lasting fragrance, and of course the projection is quite strong. It's nothing overbearing, but very, very strong. And now I come to the last two fragrances in my collection, two real beauties and two most affordable fragrances. So this one is called Eclat d'Arpège from the House of Lava, and this is called Modern Princess. Two extremely summer friendly, freshy, floral freshy kind of fragrances, and two incredibly long lasting on your skin. I can't tell you enough, because floral fragrances, fresh fragrances, they don't tend to last very long on the skin, but these two prove you otherwise. It's soothing to the core, extremely summery, and extremely pocket friendly. So that's it for my collection number 3, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I loved bringing it to you. I will be very soon bringing you the next part, and hopefully I'll be able to wrap up my entire collection in the next video. So till I see you next time very soon in my next video, lots of love.